Alarm sirens echoed through every corner of the factory. The main production line had completely shut down. The director was going crazy, shouting, "Get the technicians here now!" But at that moment, a young woman in the corner quietly picked up her tool bag and walked toward the machine. No one knew what she was capable of. Sarah Mitchell's hands were trembling slightly, but not from fear. It was excitement. The moment she'd been waiting for 2 years had finally arrived. "Turn off that alarm!" Director Harrison shouted, his face red as he paced the corridor. "What happened? Can't anyone explain this to me?" Production manager Mike was running around, drenched in sweat. "Sir, the main control unit suddenly went down. We have power, but the machine won't accept any commands. It's like its brain just died." "How did it die?" Harrison's voice echoed throughout the factory. "This machine produces $200,000 a day. We're losing $3,500 for every minute it's down." Sarah watched quietly from her desk in the corner. The technicians running past her acted as if she wasn't even there. It had been like this for 2 years. "Mike, did you check the main board?" asked Robert, the senior technician. "I checked it. Everything looks fine. Software seems normal, too." "Sensors? They're working, too." Sarah slowly stood up. She picked up her tool bag and started walking toward the machine. "Sir," Mike said, turning to Director Harrison, "maybe we should call external service?" "The Italian technicians? How many days would that take?" Harrison's veins were bulging. "Every day this machine is down costs us $700,000. Sarah reached the main control panel. The male technicians began to notice her. "Sarah, what are you doing there?" Robert asked with a puzzled expression. Sarah quietly pulled out her multimeter from her bag. "Just taking a look." "Taking a look?" Mike approached with a mocking smile. "Girl, this machine is $5 million worth of Italian technology. You work with computer programs and stuff, right?" "Yes," Sarah said calmly, "but this is also a computer." Mike shook his head. "Sarah, this isn't your job. Go back to your desk. We'll handle it." "How will you handle it?" Sarah asked while connecting the multimeter to the main power cable. "You've been trying to handle it for 2 hours. Robert intervened. "Sarah, you mean well, but these machines aren't that simple. This is engineering work." "I'm an engineer too." "We know, but..." Mike couldn't finish his sentence because Director Harrison was approaching. "What's happening here?" the director asked, fixing his eyes on Sarah. "Sir, Sarah wants to look at the machine," Mike said, as if some terrible mistake was being made. Director Harrison looked Sarah up and down. "Are you the computer girl?" "I'm an electrical and electronics engineer," Sarah said, lifting her head. "Well, what do you think?" Mike wanted to object, but Harrison's look silenced him. Sarah examined the multimeter readings. "Main power's normal, but..." She paused, frowning. "But what?" "If I may, could I open up the control cards and take a look?" "Girl!" Mike exploded. "If you open those cards, we'll lose the warranty. That machine is worth $5 million. "It's already broken," Sarah said quietly. "What could be worse?" Director Harrison hesitated. He looked at his watch. "How many hours has it been?" 2.5 hours, sir. $350,000 in losses so far." "Sarah," Director Harrison said, taking a deep breath, "you have 10 minutes. But if you break something..." "I won't break anything." Sarah pulled out her screwdriver. The male technician surrounded her, whispering like water boiling in a pot. "Is this girl crazy? She doesn't understand anything. She's going to completely break the machine." But Sarah wasn't listening. As she removed the control cards one by one, she examined each one carefully. When she picked up the third card, Sarah stopped. There was a small stain on the card. Very small. The others hadn't even noticed it. "What's this?" she murmured. "What did you find?" Robert asked, approaching curiously. Sarah examined the card more closely. "There's rust here. Very small, but in a critical spot." "Rust?" Mike laughed. "Sarah, this factory is air-conditioned. Where would rust come from?" The humidity sensor is here, Sarah said, pointing to the small sensor on the card. And last week the air conditioning broke down, remember? The humidity rose one night. Rust formed. How do you know the air conditioning broke down? Robert asked. Because I write the maintenance reports, and I was on shift that night. Mike's expression changed. So what are you going to do? Sarah pulled out a small brush and cleaning spray from her bag. First I'll clean it, then I'll test it. Stop! Mike shouted. If you clean that card, you might break it. If I don't clean it, it'll stay broken anyway. Director Harrison looked at his watch again. Sarah, 5 minutes left. Sarah, trying not to let her hands shake, began cleaning the rust spots with the small brush. She was so careful that she almost forgot to breathe. What is this girl doing? She's working like a 20-year veteran technician. Maybe she really knows what she's doing. Sarah finished cleaning. She reinstalled the card. She also checked the other cards. She carefully placed them all back. Now let's try, she said. Director Harrison went to the main button. Are you sure? Yes. Starting it up. He pressed the button. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Nothing happened. Mike smiled smugly and shook his head. See, I told you, this isn't women's work. Sarah's heart sank. Maybe she really was. But just then, the machine made a sound. A small whir. Then another sound. The monitor suddenly turned on. Wait! Sarah shouted. The machine was slowly waking up. Lights were turning on one by one. The control system was starting up. System initializing, showed the screen. Footsteps could be heard from all over the factory. Everyone was running. Workers, managers, engineers. It's working, someone shouted. The main production line began to move. The machines were running. The alarm sounds stopped. Director Harrison was frozen. How did you do it? Sarah took a deep breath. The rust on the humidity sensor was causing the system to misread humidity levels. The system was shutting down to protect itself. I cleaned the sensor and recalibrated it. Was it that simple? Robert asked in amazement. Sometimes the most complex problems have the simplest solutions. Mike looked ashamed. Sarah, I'm sorry, I underestimated you. It's okay. Director Harrison came to Sarah. Sarah, I need to talk to you. Come to my office. As Sarah packed her bag, the technicians around her were looking at her differently now. Respectful looks. Sarah, Robert said, would you like to have tea with us tonight? There are things I'd like to learn from you. Sure. In the office, Director Harrison gestured for Sarah to sit. Sarah, you've been working here for 2 years, but today I really got to know you. Why didn't you show yourself before? Sarah thought for a long time. Because no one was listening to me. When I shared my ideas, they'd say, "You're a woman. What would you know?" So I stayed quiet. This is my mistake. Our mistake. Harrison leaned back in his chair. I have an offer for you. The assistant technical manager position is open. Would you like it? Sarah's eyes lit up. Really? But it won't be easy. Some people will object. They'll say, too young. They'll say, woman. I'm ready. There's one condition. What is it? You'll also train the other young engineers here. Male or female, doesn't matter. From what I've seen, you're not just a good technician. You could be a good teacher too. Sarah smiled. I accept. 6 months later, Sarah, as the assistant technical manager of the factory, was walking around the production line with a file in her hand. 2 young engineers were with her, 1 male, 1 female. As you can see, Sarah was saying, the most critical point of this machine is the humidity sensor. We need to check it every week. Sarah, said the young female engineer, when we encounter such problems, what should we do? First, you'll listen. What is the machine telling you? Then you'll check systematically. And most importantly, you'll trust yourselves. Robert stopped as he passed by them. Sarah, we're setting up the new machine tonight. Can you help? Sure, Mike also approached. Sarah, I have a request. My daughter graduated from university, became an engineer, but she can't find a job. She says they don't want female engineers. Would you talk to her? Bring her. Let's talk. Maybe we can make room here too. A year later, Sarah was giving a conference at the factory. Topic: Gender prejudices in engineering and solutions. Engineers, technicians, and students from all over the hall were listening. A year ago, Sarah said, a machine broke down in this factory, and I fixed it. But what I really fixed was the prejudices in people's minds. Applause rose. Today, 12 female engineers work in this factory. Last year, there was only me. How did this change happen? Because when given the opportunity, women can be just as successful as men. Director Harrison was sitting in the front row, smiling proudly. But this story isn't just my story. This is all of our story. Because when we face our prejudices, we all become better. After the conference, a young female student approached Sarah. Sarah, I'm also studying engineering, but my father says this isn't girls' work. What do you suggest? Sarah held the girl's hands. Let me tell you a story. Once upon a time, in a factory where alarms were ringing. Sarah's story wasn't just a woman's success story. This was a story of how prejudices can be broken down, how opportunities can be created. Today, the female engineers working in that factory are following the path Sarah opened, and each one is writing their own story. Because sometimes fixing a machine is enough to change an entire system, and sometimes one person's courage inspires thousands. What would you do if you faced such a situation? Would you fight against prejudices, or would you choose to stay silent and wait? This story shows us that real power isn't in knowledge, but in the courage to use that knowledge.